We're building artificial intelligence that can write incredible poetry. It can solve equations that would take us a lifetime. But can we ever teach it to be wise? That right there, that's the big question at the heart of what we're digging into today. It's all about a concept called spiritual intelligence, and it connects this ancient human quest for wisdom with our totally AI-driven future.
I want you to think about someone you really, truly admire. What is it about them? Is it just that they're book smart or really good with people? Or is there something else, something deeper? We talk all the time about IQ and EQ, but this question, it gets at the very heart of our conversation today.
So, you've definitely heard of IQ, right? That's for logic. And EQ for emotions. But what if I told you there's a third and maybe equally crucial intelligence? Well, researchers are starting to call it SQ, or spiritual intelligence. Think of it as our built-in capacity for finding meaning, for figuring out our purpose, and for living a truly connected life.
All right, here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll nail down what SQ actually is. Then, we're going to take a trip around the world to see how it looks in different cultures. After that, we'll find the common threads that actually unite all these different views. And then, and this is where it gets really fascinating, we're going to see what happens when this ancient idea of wisdom crashes head-on into the world of artificial intelligence. And finally, we'll ask the big one: how on earth can we code wisdom into our future?
Okay, so let's jump right into that first step. Before we can even think about connecting spiritual intelligence to AI, we really need to get a handle on it. What is this third intelligence anyway?
So at its core, SQ is super practical. This isn't just some abstract philosophical idea. It's about our ability to tap into our deepest values, our sense of purpose, of meaning, to actually navigate the challenges life throws at us and to achieve our goals. It's the part of our intelligence that's always asking, why?
But here's the really crucial point. Wisdom does not look the same everywhere you go, not even close. The very definition of what it means to live a spiritually intelligent life is completely shaped by culture. Let's take a look at how this plays out across the globe.
And this is where the idea of wisdom really starts to branch out. In a lot of Western cultures, the journey is often psychological. It's very individual. It's all about my personal growth, my journey. But in many Eastern traditions, wisdom isn't really about the self at all. It's about finding harmony with the whole. It's much less me and a whole lot more we.
And this amazing diversity just keeps going. Many indigenous cultures, for example, see spiritual wisdom as being deeply fundamentally tied to the land, to the complex relationships within an entire ecosystem. It's a kind of ecological intelligence passed down for generations. Then, in Islamic perspectives, SQ is inseparable from one's connection with the divine, and it's expressed through virtues like humility, compassion, and real inner strength.
Okay, so with all these completely different definitions, you might be thinking there's no common ground at all. But, and this is pretty remarkable, when you start looking at the practices, the things people actually do to cultivate wisdom, you start to see these universal patterns emerge.
It's fascinating, really. No matter the culture, the path to wisdom seems to involve three core movements. We look inward to understand ourselves, we look outward to connect with other people, and we look beyond to find our place in the grand scheme of things. Let's break down what those actually look like.
So looking inward can take all sorts of forms. For some, it might be Buddhist vipassana meditation. For others, it's the kind of secular mindfulness you hear about for stress reduction. It could be contemplative prayer, or even just the incredibly powerful practice of journaling and asking yourself those really deep why questions about your life. Then there's looking outward, which is really all about empathy. We see this everywhere, in indigenous gratitude rituals that honor the earth, in the daily prayers of Islam that express thanks, or in acts of service, which are just central to traditions like Christianity and karma yoga. The whole point is to get beyond our own ego by focusing on others. And finally, looking beyond ourselves. This is all about connecting to something bigger. Think about the Norwegian concept of friluftsliv, that free air life, or the Japanese practice of forest bathing. It's in community rituals like Dia de los Muertos in Mexico, or in the sacred pilgrimages that you can find in pretty much every major religion on the planet.
So we've got this ancient, complex, deeply human idea of wisdom. Now, let's drop a 21st century bombshell right into the middle of it all: artificial intelligence. And this is the point where the conversation stops being just philosophical and starts becoming incredibly urgent.
This is the billion-dollar question, isn't it? We just went through how wildly different the ideas of a good or a wise choice can be depending on where you are in the world. So whose definition of wisdom are we going to code into the machines that will very soon be making decisions for all of us?
And this table just lays the problem out so clearly. An AI built on Western values might put individual rights above everything else, but an AI built on Eastern values might prioritize the harmony of the community. One system might see AI's purpose as a tool for control and personal benefit, while another sees it as a way to foster connection and social order. I mean, these aren't just minor tweaks, these are fundamental, head-on conflicts.
And look, this is not just some theory. Research from MIT Sloan actually confirms that AI is already soaking up these biases. These models are not culturally neutral. Not at all. Their answers, their ethical leanings, their entire personalities can shift dramatically depending on the cultural data they were trained on and even the language you use to talk to them.
Okay, the challenge here seems absolutely massive, I get it. But it might not be impossible. What if we've been looking at this whole thing the wrong way? What if instead of treating all these cultural differences as a bug we need to fix, we started embracing them as the key to the solution?
This quote from Dr. Surya Ganduri just hits the nail on the head. The goal isn't to erase all our cultural differences to create some single master AI. No way. The real goal is to build AI that is flexible, that is inclusive, and that is respectful of the entire beautiful spectrum of human wisdom.
So how in the world do we actually do that? Well, the path forward seems to involve 4 big shifts. First, something called polycentric governance. That just means we need global principles for AI safety, but local teams have to have the power to adapt them to their own cultures. Second, the teams building AI have to actually reflect the diversity of the world. Third, the AI itself has to be flexible so it can be customized locally. And finally, we have got to stop relying only on numbers. We need to bring in the wisdom of humanists and social scientists to get that rich, qualitative data that truly defines a culture.
So, when you boil it all down, the crucial point is this. The ultimate goal isn't just to build smarter machines. It's to build machines that reflect the very best of our humanity, our wisdom, our compassion, and our incredible capacity for meaning.
So, as we're racing to make AI that's infinitely smarter than any of us, we are left with the real challenge, and it has nothing to do with processing power or data. It's about wisdom. How do we build machines that don't just think, but actually understand? I'd love to know what you think. What's the very first step we should take?